No rational person would deny that being a woman in modern Western society comes with a unique set of difficulties. Ask the average man on the street what kind of challenges come with being a woman, and he will be able to list them off with ease. Women are vulnerable to physical violence, sexual assault, objectification, being overlooked in the workplace, having to balance career and motherhood, and many other issues. Men know of these challenges, not because men are especially empathetic and sensitive to the problems of other people, but rather because society has made a concerted effort over many decades to ensure men are made aware of the difficulties associated with being a woman. This is a positive step. Understanding leads to compassion and greater harmony between all human beings. However, the question must be asked, is this effort that men make to empathize with women being reciprocated, or is it just a one-way street? On a societal level, are women actually interested in hearing about the unique difficulties faced by men? There is still a segment of the female population that would deny that being a man comes with any significant challenges at all. They claim that our society is a patriarchy and that every man is the beneficiary of male privilege. After all, men don't have to deal with domestic violence or rape in the way that women do. What do they have to complain about? While they might grant that there are some worthy concerns surrounding issues like child custody, false paternity, and male suicide, mostly these problems are brushed aside as insignificant in the face of what they claim are much more important issues faced by women. Even though this radical feminist perspective is continuously shrinking in legitimacy and relevancy, even the average woman still has difficulty understanding the everyday challenges that men face. It might surprise women to discover that, far from feeling privileged, many young men feel disempowered and alienated from the world around them. Great progress has been made in encouraging men to open up about mental health issues and feel more comfortable expressing their emotions, but as a society, we are still reluctant to acknowledge the main reason why young men are struggling. Dating. This will come as a surprise to most women. They see no evidence in their own lives that men are struggling with dating. To women, it seems as though men have all of the power. They think of the man who won't commit, the man who won't text her back, the man who doesn't even notice her. Given the power that this man has, you have a hard time convincing her that men have it tough. However, this is exactly the problem. All of her attention is fixated on this top-tier man who she desires but cannot make him desire her back. No thought is given to the countless men in the background who she doesn't desire. They are essentially invisible to her, and therefore little to no thought is given to their unique difficulties. Yet these invisible men are not some fringe minority group. They are in fact the majority. The word hypergamy refers to the female instinct to mate with the highest quality man that she can attract. From a biological level, all women are looking to pair off with the top men of society. A man who is tall, successful, and good-looking will enjoy lots of female attention because of hypergamy. Who wouldn't want to be with him? After all, he is a winner. Unfortunately, in order for some men to be winners, there must be a lot of losers. This phenomenon is not completely unique to men. Everyone can recognize that some women are more desirable than others. The major difference is one of scale. According to the dating site OkCupid, 80% of men are rated by women to be below average. Figures like this confirm what evolutionary biologists have been saying for years, that women only have eyes for the top-tier men. So if you're a successful man, dating is easy, but where does this leave the 80% of men who can't get women to even look at them? Too often, it leaves them with depression, loneliness, and resentment. From a purely biological perspective, one of the best indicators of your success as a biological organism is your ability to attract a partner, mate with them, and pass on your genes. Is it surprising that men who struggle to attract women into their lives feel like they are failures? Too often, our society demonizes male sexuality. We celebrate female sexuality as empowering and beautiful, an expression of goddess energy. Yet, male sexuality is viewed as perverted, violent, and out of control. Male sexuality is just as valid as female sexuality. All human beings want to feel connected to one another, and sex is one of the primary ways that men feel that connection. Young men are not just sexually unfulfilled, but emotionally unfulfilled. They have a strong desire to be with the women around them, and yet they feel invisible. This feeling of being completely ignored as a sexual prospect by the opposite gender is a uniquely male experience, and one that very few women will ever be able to understand. This unfulfilled need for sexual and emotional validation makes men vulnerable to exploitation from industries created to separate such men from their money. There is a lot of talk about the exploitation of sex workers, and undoubtedly there is some justification for this, but what about the other side of the story? What about the exploitation of men who fall victim to these industries? Webcam girls, prostitutes, strippers, and other sex workers are well practiced in the art of giving men the emotional and sexual intimacy they crave in exchange for money. Of course, the intimacy is an act. There is nothing authentic about these interactions, but many men are willing to pay lots of money for the illusion. Up until recently, many men have felt so ashamed of their failures that they did not speak up about it. They kept their pain to themselves at a massive personal cost. Even if a man did want to open up about his difficulties, he was not confident that the larger society around him was interested in listening. The truth is that society has had a vested interest in closing their ears to the problems that men face. In order for things to keep functioning, society needed these men to continue to participate, primarily for financial reasons. The idea of male privilege was an effective preemptive strike against any complaints from these men that their reward was not commensurate with their contribution. However, the history of the West has shown that as things improve, we make more room to hear the pain of previously overlooked groups, whether it's ethnic minorities, women, or homosexuals. Hopefully, now has come the time where we, as a society, are doing well enough that we have the space and compassion to listen to men describe the unique difficulties associated with being a man.